Hello, everybody. All right, so welcome to the Mikestand. Today is Thursday, September the 5th, 2024. Um, so here's what's on tap for tonight. We're going to probably get more right into it. First off, of course, if you guys haven't yet, if you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So, with that being said, of course, let's talk a little. I guess we're gonna get right into this tonight. Normally, I'd wait for a couple minutes, give people a chance to come in, but I figured, let's just get right into it. So tonight, of course, Thursday night. So normally the night we do the indie comic show, go over the indie comic showcase from Bleeding Fool. So we'll be doing that indie comic showcase number 283. Plus, of course, we'll have the wrestling wrap up in the this day in each history. So without any further ado, why don't we go ahead and get right into it? Alrighty then. So that's another minute here. Alrighty then. So here we go. Indie Comic Showcase number 283. Discord, Shelter Dog, and Space Oddities. Article by Chris Braley, published yesterday. Welcome back to another installment of Indie Comic Showcase, the weekly blog where we signal boost a few truly independent comics that are currently crowdfunding their projects, crowdsourcing their funding in some way, or just completely self-publishing on their own. Every little bit of support for these creators matters, from a single dollar pledge to the $35 bundle. And of course, the higher tiers are usually fun too. Even if you can't back a campaign or buy a book, you can share or tweet about these projects to your friends and followers. Or, of course, you can also come here Thursday night when I go over them and you get the information from me as well. So, on Indie Comics Showcase, we interview the creators, show off some art, and tell you how you can check out the product for yourself. Below, we have some outstanding crowdfunding campaigns this week for you to learn about, enjoy, and hopefully support by backing one or more of them. These Thanks for checking these out, and for being the best part of Indie Comic Showcase. Let's jump in. So, the Space Oddities by Ben Robbins is, of course, going to be the first one here. But before we get into that, well, of course, let's go grab the link here. Find out where they're. So this is going to be a Kickstarter campaign. These Oddities issues 1 through 3 here on Kickstarter, of course. All right, so now that we have that, let me just go back up to the thing here so we can grab the title here, Space. All right, so here we go. Let's see now. Space Oddities by Ben Robinson here. And here's the link for you guys if you guys want to go check that out. There's a link to that campaign, so you can go check that out. All right, so let's find out a little bit more about Space Oddities from Ben Robinson here through Chris Braley, of course. Space Oddities issues 1 through 3, from what we understand. So, Chris Braley, welcome to Indie Comic Showcase. Ben, tell our readers your, in smaller quotes, elevator pitch for Space Oddities. Ben Robinson, a space comedy adventure comic series aspiring to be the love child of Indiana Jones' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So that probably explains one guy over here, the guy on the far on the right here. Looks like he's got a fanny pack on with a kilt on, Scottish standard wear. Let's see. Let's see. Space Oddities is an adventure comedy story about the crew of Tosa. Jorge McSanchez and Dirk. Jorge McSanchez. So basically, somebody who I guess is half Scottish, half Hispanic. They are in business, and Dirk. They are in business of locate. So I was right. As a kilt, basically. They are in the business of locating and procuring lost or misappropriated, quote unquote, and antiquities. A lucrative, if not stable, business until a young woman named Jet Paxton suddenly becomes an unsolicited crew member. In other words, she basically just invited herself on board and just said, I'm gonna be here with you guys. I'm gonna help you out. Even though they probably didn't ask for her help. But anyways, Jet's quest to find her mother will point them toward a fabled artifact of immense power and all the danger that comes with it. Chris, tell me the, in smaller quote, origin story of this comic series. Where did the idea come from? Let's see, Ben, I believe Ben Robinson, right? Yeah, Ben. John and I came up with the idea for these characters way back in 2004. Originally, it was meant to be pitched as an Adult Swim style cartoon serial, but as early 20 lousabouts, it never went anywhere. Then in 2019, we realized that we could do a comic a lot easier than a cartoon, and we still had a ton of passion for the project. We fleshed out the first arc, and John got to drawing. We had a couple other local comic friends that had some luck with crowdfunding, and we figured we would give it a shot. Right? Alrighty then. So let's see as we move on here. So, the big guy there is McSanchez. I'm pretty sure of that. Let's see. Let me see if there's anybody saying anything yet. Well, somebody dropped in here. Hmm. All right. Let's see. What kind of comic reader is Space Oddities aimed at? Ben, this book is for folks that like a little comedy with their sci-fi. As stated in our tagline, it should appeal to people who like Indiana Jones style adventures and Hitchhiker's Guide absurdism. We have also had a few readers describe it as Cowboy Bebop meets Archer, which is certainly flattering. We also try to deliver a solid narrative with fleshed out characters and an emotional arc. And a reminder, of course, if you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. Also, let me just also remind you, if anything that we talk about here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and we will try to answer those questions to the best of our ability. And there's the girl right there that's trying to join. And we've seen, there is some Cowboy Bebop aspect in it with a girl who's not necessarily wanted there, but yet, just decides to make herself at home there anyways. Kind of in the same vein as Faye Valentine from let's see. Then Chris asks, tell me about your creative process, Ben. And Ben responds, our creative process is a bit different. We spent quite a bit of time defining the characters and building the outline for the first arc together. Before each issue, John and I get together and define all the main plot points we intend to hit and where it is we want everyone to end up. Then we split up and write our own scripts with different dialogue, details, and gags. Then we get back together and argue over all the best bits. Basically, they write their own scripts and then they kind of mash together what they feel will make for the best story. That sounds like a very interesting process, to say the least. Cramming it all together into an amalgamated script. So far, it has worked out really well. Yeah, when you're kind of bashing ideas together like that usually will work out for most people. We both have different strengths as writers, and it helps the cream rise to the top. Thankfully, having been good friends for over 2 decades makes the process a bit easier. Number 3 presents Ray Gunderson and the Adventure Science Squad. Yeah, that looks like kind of in the same vein as some Golden Age, Space Age comics. All right. Who is your creative team on this project? Well, John and I write the script, and then John does his magic with the art. I contribute opinions where I can, but John is a phenomenal visual storyteller, so I rarely have notes for him. John does the pencils and the inks, and I do the lettering and final print layouts. With issue 3, circumstances led to getting a new colorist, Fariza Kamaputra. We are super excited to have him on board. He has done some really great work in the past on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and various indie books. The work he has done so far is fantastic. So I'm guessing John Williams here is the other guy he's referring to. Look at some of these. Staring at a cave entrance that looks kind of like I don't know, a hawk or an eagle or something like that. Let's see, Chris. What kind of production workflow do you guys work with? Ben, we get we get to our combined script, then John retreats to his art cave to draw as much as his time allows. Um, this is very much a passion project for us, so we have to fit it into our fairly busy lives. Once we have once we have most of the line art, we start working with our colorist and getting the Kickstarter campaign together. Then it is letters, layouts, printing, and on to the next issue. Issue number 3 is over 80% complete. It took us a bit longer than planned to launch this campaign, as we wanted to make sure we were in a position um, where we could fulfill promptly. Most of the art, most of the line art, um, is done, um, and coloring has already started. Um, we we have a fulfillment deadline for December of this year, and I think there is a good chance we might be able to get it out a bit early. Hmm. That's always nice. Always nice when you can make sure you're confident enough to where you're not only going to hit your target date, but you even say you should be ready early. Um, that sounds pretty cool. Again, if you guys haven't already, you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything that we talk about here, anything that we're going over here, grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions about what we are talking about, and we'll try to answer the questions to the best of our ability. So, anyways, getting back to the article here. So Chris asked then, what's your take on crowdfunding comics? Ben, it is a ton of work, but incredibly rewarding. We spent a lot of time sitting on the pot with this one, almost 20 years. There was always, quote unquote, something stopping us from making it a reality. It was really freeing when we finally just started making it. Having crowdfunded as an option was great. It gave us a perceived avenue to get the book out to the world in a meaningful way. The best advice we ever got regarding regarding how to get into making comics was to just make the damn comics. Neither John nor I were particularly good promoting ourselves. We still aren't great at it, but it is something you have to at least get comfortable when you are self-publishing and asking folks to take a chance on your project. You have to get the word out and tell people how great it is. Let's see. Let's see if anybody's saying anything yet here. All right. Chris, what's the overall plan for Space Oddities or future plans? Ben, this is the third entry in the sixth issue first arc. As I mentioned above, the original idea for this property was a more serialized comedy cartoon. Um, by the end of the first arc, the crew will be set and ready for some serialized style adventures. We still plan on having a through line that tells a bigger story, but each issue will be a little more self-contained. Also, we certainly haven't given up on the idea of an animated space oddities. Yeah, so if the opportunity arises, we will be ready to jump on it. Now, as we've talked about here on the Mikestand several times, of course, there is oftentimes a connection between comics and cartoons, anime and manga, right? So, usually they feed into each other. Either a comic book company will seek out to get together with a studio to license out to do a cartoon anime, or vice versa. Maybe somebody who has a cartoon or anime property will look to, more with the cartoon side of it, will look to maybe venture into the realm of comic books. We've seen it on both ends of the spectrum, so I mean, it's not entirely impossible to see space. We could see Space Oddities on an Adult Swim like block at some point in the future, but you never know. With the way things are going, though, it might end up going on straight to a streaming service as opposed to on Adult Swim itself. With the way things are going with all that. Hey there, Goodnight Spoon. Let's see. Just to set the record straight without Rick trying to convince you. Otherwise, I am Japanese. Anyways. All right, so back to the article here. Chris, what's something else readers should look for with these first issues? Ben, in this issue, we will be introducing a new character, Ray Gunderson, a famous space hero who is a little bit past his prime. As part of that introduction, the issue includes a 14-page Ray Gunderson adventure drawn in a more Golden Age sci-fi style, which I did see. Yeah, I noticed that earlier. This is what they're talking about right here with that. And basically what they're talking about right there. Let's see. Yeah, all right. The story gives a look at who Ray is, as well as some insight into Jet's missing mother and the MacGuffin she was searching for when she disappeared. It was originally planned to be a quick 5-page affair, but I got a little carried away with the joy of writing a pulpy action story. Not to be confused with poopy. And we liked how it turned out. Too much to leave it behind. One of our two variant covers is meant to be the cover of the side adventure and was illustrated by the fantastic R.L. Black. Anything else you want to share before we sign off? Chris asks. Ben responds, if you're still on the fence about Space Oddities, the beefy 40-page first issue is currently on sale for $1 over at drive-through comics. Give it a read and see if it is for you. Chris, thanks for bringing it to our attention. Ben, good luck. All right, so that's just the first of the three features that we're looking at here. The next part of the article we're going to look at here is Discord, Atlanta's guardian angel of music. So let's go grab that link, see where you can find that. This is a Fund My Comic project. Discord number 2. C.S. Johnson. All right, so let's see. Let me go back up to the all right, so let's see. Okie dokie, little Smokey. All right, so there's of course the title there. If you guys want to go check that out, the link is in there in the chat. If you want to go check out that project. So let's get into this part then. Discord, Atlanta's Guardian Angel of Music by C.S. Johnson. There it is right there. All right, so Chris Braley, welcome to Indie Comic Showcase CS. Tell our readers the pitch for Discord, Atlanta's Guardian Angel of Music. C.S. Johnson, with the ability to hear the song inside each human soul, Discord is back, fighting against human traffickers in the heart of Atlanta. But things are different now and darker as new information from the past comes to light. Chris, so tell me what inspired this story. CS, there are always lots of little things that add up to a body of work that inspire the story. I wanted to write a comic set in Atlanta, my adopted city and my children's home, unparenthesed, and I wanted to tackle one of its biggest issues. I came here, and this was one of my church's first primary concerns. I also like the idea of writing the comic as a love letter of sorts to the good and honest men in my life. While I'm not Discord, he gets a lot of power, strength, and encouragement from the men around him. His father, his stepfather, his sensei, his professor, and his priest. Men need other men in their lives to be good mentors if they want to thrive. And I firmly believe that whatever problems we face as a society today, one generation of good, godly-minded men can turn it all around in ways we can't even begin to expect. Discord is my own wish fulfillment in that regard. Yeah, I know if Rick was here, he'd probably be agreeing with a lot of this. I'm pretty sure of that. Chris, who is this comic aimed at? CS. This is a comic book series aimed at teens to adults, admittedly, mostly men, but I have women readers who have enjoyed it too. I've been a novelist for over a decade now. My style is haphazard and daring, dynamic and playful, and innocent and sincere. Look at some of these visuals right here. Let's see. Chris, you're handling the writing, but tell me, who is handling the art chores? CS. Light Comic Studio is the best. I have thoroughly enjoyed working with them, and I fully intend to keep on doing so in the future. We've agreed to a 5-part series run for Discord, and if it does well enough, I'd love to do more work with them in the future. I've always had the pleasure and privilege to work with some great artists like Luke Stone, Theo Kings, and Levi Tonin. For my variant covers, I've also had Spencer Baculi. Spencer Baculi, wow, that guy's a writer for Bounding into Comics. Wow, I didn't know he was an actual artist. I just thought he was a columnist. But oh, that's very interesting. As my colorist for Discord #2 variant covers, all of them are super great, and I especially like how they can cheer me on easily. They are very approachable, uh, and something people like me need, parentheses, and professional. I would encourage anyone looking into making comic to check in with them. Look at that throw. Let's see. And before I continue on with it, let me just see if there's anything new that's being said. Nope. All right. Solid People, how far along is the book? Chris, or I'm sorry, CS. The book is done, as is the script for #3. I'm working on finishing up 4 and 5 this year. It's on my list for stuff I want to do for this year, and while life always throws a few curveballs my way, I really want to succeed in getting it done. Yeah, I mean, it's probably quite remarkable that while writing this book, she's also got a family to tend to. She mentioned something about having kids and stuff. I'm sure that she also wants, well, I believe, well, okay. So when I went to go grab the link, I did see the picture, and it looked like this is a woman writer. So as far as I can tell, so granted, I'm naturally, assuming that, but I think in this case it's a pretty good educated guess. Let's see. All right. Chris, this will be 2 issues in. So tell me what you're learning from self-publishing and crowdfunding young comics through this journey. CS, marketing is always a challenge for me as a natural introvert. Um, I work best through writing, in parentheses here, probably because I can edit it and people only see the finished product, on parentheses. I think the best thing that I've learned is how many people of good faith and goodwill are out there. The comics world and the more popular and mainstream media in general can be really cutthroat. True. We've seen it, right? And while I'm here and I'm not leaving, I like getting the chance to interact with new people, make them laugh, and give them hope. Some pretty good visuals there. Chris, so it sounds like there are more stories to tell. What else are you working on? CS, I'm always writing something. I'm working on a children's book with Theo Kings as my illustrator to be released this year, entitled, quote, if sin was dog poo. That sounds like a very interesting book. If sin was dog poo, okay. Uh, yeah, I mean that would make it probably more likely that people would not want to touch it with a even with a 10-foot pole. But hey, you never know. uh, I think it's important that people realize they're full of crap at times. Okay, even me. Even the best of us, and I thought it was a great way to introduce kids to the idea or of if you could see your sin and point them to Jesus, and point them to Jesus. I'm hoping the book will be delightfully disgusting, but Theo's drawings are really so precious, and my editor, award-winning novelist Kathy McCrum, even made me do my best poetry work with it by reining in some of my more esoteric tendencies. Almost have to wonder what those esoteric tendencies are, I wonder. I wonder, wonder, wonder who wrote the book of love. Uh, a minute. Let's see, Chris. The campaign needs some eyes on it. Are there any special features or special perks on it that you want to mention? CS, I have an exclusive T-shirt design or two, and I'm going to surprise all my physical backers with an unnamed gift. Oh, okay. Let's see. Chris, fantastic. Any last words you'd like to share with our readers before we sign off? Uh, CS, because it's about human trafficking, and I did my research. Um, I did not kill myself. Oh boy. Okay. Similarly, if you're feeling down and lonely, please consider going to church. In my most lonely of times, having survived 2 rounds of severe depression and 2 rounds of postpartum depression. So, okay, postpartum depression, this is a woman, okay, because you can't get postpartum depression unless you get pregnant, and you can't get pregnant unless you're a woman. You know, I can say without any hesitation, a biological woman, a naturally born biological woman, by the way. I can say without any hesitation that God loves you and He's there for you, and you need people in your life who will tell you the truth and not what they think you want to hear. I've always found refuge in the house of God, and he's been kind enough to send me mentors, friends, and good people with whom I can fellowship. It was there that I heard of faith being, quote, the ability to sing at midnight, unquote, which is the sermon name if you want to look it up, from 12 Stone Church. And I have always remembered that as I've always worked through Discord Story. Also, when the second issue was just finished up, and I put it together for the printer, I learned of a suicide related to one of my best friends. It was very awful and heartbreaking to see their grief at their loss. Please don't inflict such pain on others. I know for a fact we'd rather have your anger and your sadness than your loss. Chris, I love that. Thanks for sharing this with our readers, and good luck on the campaign. Looks great. CS, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak my heart and share my work. And finally, the final one, Shelter Dog here by Jason DeGroot. All right, so anyways, let me go grab the link here and then we will get to this. And here's another Fun My Comic project, Shelter Dog. Shelter Dog! I'll try this one more time here. Try this one more time here. There we go. There we go with that. All right, so there's the there's the link for the next one we're gonna do, Shelter Dog here by Jason DeGroot. This one seems a little more cartoony too. Let's check this one out. Shelter Dog by Jason DeGroot. Chris Braley. Welcome to Indie Showcase, Jason. Tell us your latest crowdfunding comic. Jason DeGroot. Shelter Dog is a small press adventure following the exploits of Shelter Dog and Shelter Cat as they help kids learn about the joys and challenges of having a new pet. Oh wow! So this one sounds like it's directed right at kids. Made specifically for kids, it sounds like. It's a 40-page black and white digest-sized book with 3 complete stories that are funny and heartfelt. There is a guaranteed to be at least one poop joke. All right. All right. So, Chris, what's the, in smaller quotes, origin story for this project? Um, Jason, I worked at an animal shelter for several years in the late '90s. So, responsible pet ownership has always been very important to me. Last year, my wife and I took in a stray dog named Penny, who was still a puppy and was a real challenge for us. On one of my many walks with her, I started developing the idea of a superhero dog who helped people learn about the responsibilities that come with having a new pet. It sounds kind of like a cute book. Chris, what kind of comic reader is this best suited for? Jason, it's an all ages book, so it's really suitable for anybody, particularly folks who really love having a pet. I think folks will relate to a lot of the shenanigans that Shelter Dog and Shelter Cat get up to. Parker shouted, I want a puppy! Parker had been shouting this for quite some time. I want a puppy! Parker shouted again. Suddenly, there was a whooshing sound. Uh, Chris, tell me a little bit about your creative process. Jason, typically I'll start working out the script in my head while I'm doing something that doesn't require my full attention, like walking the dog or mowing the lawn. Well, be careful. You don't want to be too unfocused mowing the lawn. You might end up mowing your own foot off if you're not careful. Uh, let's see. Once I've worked out the basic story, I'll sit down and start writing start writing um, and then share it um, with the artist I'm working with. The main Shelter Dog story was actually a prose story that Terry then adapted, showing me thumbnails along the way to make sure we were on the same page with pacing. Hmm. Look at that little girl with her little puppy dog. Let's see. Chris, what other creators contributed to the project? Jason, I could go on and on about the creative team. They are so talented and also super nice and very active in the small press community. Terry Wood, who I've followed since her book Wandering Star, quote unquote, in the '90s, and John Muller, uh, Larned Justin, and Alan Freeman, all amazing talents. I've really gotten to know them as I've developed the online jam comic, quote unquote Sunday Jam, that I coordinate. Chris, how do you like to work with these guys? The book is complete, right? Jason, it's really just writing the script, sending it to the artist, and then they send back the art, and we work back and forth through email. If we need to make tweaks, it's honestly my favorite part for the whole process, just all the creative sparks flying back and forth. All the artwork is complete for the book. Now we're just waiting on the campaign to figure out how many copies to print. Here we go, right here. Let's see. Chris then asked, "What's your experience with crowdfunding comic?" Let's see. I think crowdfunding comic or crowdfunding a comic. Jason, this is my first solo campaign, and the main thing I've learned both from this and from all the projects I've worked on over the years is patience. I want to get it all done right now, and it's just not realistic. The other things I'm learning is that I don't have to do it all myself. Having a crowdfunding campaign has taken so much pressure off of me with the financial anxieties that come with any project like this. Let's see. Chris, what is the goal of this comic? Jason, my ultimate goal is to work with animal shelters to use the book for fundraising, advocacy, and education. There are definitely more stories to tell, and I'm hoping that each edition will be tailored to the shelter I'm producing it for, including stories that focus on challenges that are region specific. I really hope this becomes a reality. Very excited about the prospect of using creativity to help pets. He's even got a shelter dog coloring book. Talk about getting something interactive there. Chris, I think that's a noble goal. Are there any special perks on your campaign we should pay attention to? Jason, Terry Wood has been extremely generous and has provided original line art from the book as well as some sketches, and Alan created a series of 12 illustrations for a coloring book. That's part of we just saw that, of course, part of the rewards. We also have a postcard featuring Terry's artwork. The artwork itself is just really, really special. Let's see. Thanks, Jason. I hope it does well. It does well for you. Any final comments for our readers? Jason, a big thank you in advance for getting a copy of the book. Not only are you supporting small press and independent publishing, but this book is going to be the first step in a bigger vision of helping animal shelters find homes for their residents. Sounds pretty cool. That's it for this installment. If you're a creator ramping up your own campaign or have a comic available for purchase online and you want to be featured in our weekly column, click here. And follow Indie Comics Showcase on Twitter at Indie Comics and reach out to them for more eyes on your crowdfunding comic project. Until next time, support Indie Comics. Alrighty then. So there we go with that. Hope you all enjoyed the articles tonight. So let me just one more time go through the books that we covered tonight, so you guys can, if you guys want to go take a look at those on your own. There's a link to Space Oddities, which is on Kickstarter by Ben Robinson, I believe. And then there's CS's story, Discord, Atlanta's Guardian Angel music. So there's one you guys might want to go check out as well. And finally, Shelter Dog from Jason DeGroot. If you guys want to go check that out, there's the link to that. So now, with all that being said, why don't we go ahead and do the wrestling wrap up real quick? So we'll start, going back to last night. Last night was the Go Home Dynamite, heading into All Out this weekend, this Saturday. So we'll, so I can go grab results from that. So on last night's Dynamite, of course, the show started out with Kazuchika Okada retaining the Continental title in a title defense against Kyle Fletcher. Jamie Hayter, in her second match since coming back from injury, defeated Robin Renegade in just under 2.5 minutes. May successfully defended the AEW Women's World Title over former champ Nyla Rose in a non-title 6-man tag match, of course, partly in preparation for the upcoming international title match coming up this Saturday at All Out. The AEW World Trios champions, Pac, teaming with Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta of the Blackpool Combat Club, defeated Will Ospreay, the international champion, Will Ospreay, and the conglomeration duo of Orange Cassidy and Kyle O'Reilly. And of course, coming up this Saturday is the All Out event. Already signed for this Saturday, for this Saturday's All Out event in Hoffman Estates, Illinois, at the Now Arena in Hoffman Estates, Illinois. The Young Bucks will be defending the AEW World Tag Team titles against the Blackpool Combat Club of Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta. There'll be a 4-way match for the Continental title in which Kazuchika Okada will be defending against 3 opponents, I guess, still to be determined. In a Chicago street fight, Willow Nightingale will be taking on Chris Statlander in this big grudge match. As mentioned a moment ago, Will Ospreay will be defending the AEW International title against Pac. Daniel Garcia looks to get revenge as he takes on MJF in a match. Mercedes Moné will be defending the TBS title against former 3-time AEW World Women's Champion Karu Shida. And also last night, Christopher Daniels, who is the currently interim vice president, filling in as, basically being Tony Khan's representative, has banned Camille from ringside to where she cannot interfere in the match on Mercedes Moné's behalf. So Bryan Danielson will be defending the AEW World title against TNT champion Jack Perry. And then in a lights out steel cage match, Adam Page and Swerve Strickland, these two very hot rivals, will be going after each other, looking to settle their issues once and for all. Now, they're making this a lights out steel cage match. Now, a lights out match in professional wrestling, that basically means it's unsanctioned. Basically means they've signed off that the company, AEW, the company, is not responsible for any injuries or anything that happens to them. This is an unsanctioned match. This is needed to settle this feud once and for all. So that's all happening on. And then looking to tonight, as TNA's Impact will be on tonight. Let's look at what you can look forward to on Access TV. So on tonight's Impact, Laredo Kid will be taking on Kushida in a one-on-one match. Kushida will also be taking on Josh Alexander. Jordan Grace will be defending the Knockout World title against NXT's Carmen Petrovich. In a tag team match, the Good Hands of Jason Hotch and John Schuyler will be taking on the tag team of the new X Division champion Zachary Wentz and former champ Mike Bailey. Eric Young will be taking on Jake Something, and then the main event will be a tag team match. Joe Hendry and Mike Santana teaming up to take on the System of JDC and Moose. So also now, and heading into also tomorrow to look for tomorrow night's SmackDown. Looking forward to what's on tomorrow night's SmackDown. Get to that in a moment here. On tomorrow night's SmackDown, coming from Edmonton, Alberta. So WWE is doing its Canadian tour, coming from the Rogers Place in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, with Corey Graves and Michael Cole as your commentators. Already scheduled for tomorrow night. Giovanna Vinci will be in action. Also, Bailey will be taking on Tiffany Stratton. And the main event looks to see the WWE tag team titles we put on the line as a bloodline duo of Tonga Loa and Tama Tonga will be defending the titles in a triple threat match against DIY of Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, the Street Profits of Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford. So that's all I got for you in the wrestling wrap-up. So now we're going to move on to the This Day in Each History. With today being Thursday, September 5th, 2024. Let's take a look back at this day in each history. So, first off, I'm going to head back 80 years. We go back 80 years ago today. On this date, 80 years ago today, on this day, 80 years ago today, oops, hold on. Can't believe I did that. All right, actually, we don't need to go down because. All right. Hold on a sec. I need to go back and look. Oh, I know now why. Okay. Forgot it's not August. Oopsie. There we go. All right. So now we got it back here. Hey, Rick. Had a bit of a brain fart here. All right, let's get this back up here right now. All right, so on this day, 80 years ago today, the first issue of Ideal Comics from Marvel Comics, then known as, or at least for this one, Margood Publishing Corporation, went on sale on this date back in 1944, 80 years ago today. So with 10 cents, 48 pages, had such anthropomorphic features as Super Rabbit, um, Percy Penguin, Morty Monk, and Buck Baboon. So 80 years ago today, the first issue of Ideal Comics from Marvel went on sale on this date back in 1944. And now moving on to other piece of niche history we have for you tonight. On this date, 20 years ago today, back in 2004, Studio Ghibli's Howl's Moving Castle premiered in Japanese theaters on this date. Actually premiered at the Venice Film Festival on this date in the Venice Film premiered on this date at the Venice Film Festival back in 2004. 20 years ago today, Studio Ghibli's Howl's Moving Castle premiered on this date 20 years ago at the Venice International Film Festival on this date 20 years ago. So with that, I thank everybody for being here. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. We're back here tomorrow night. Of course, I will have Shadowhawk co-hosting with me as we'll introduce you guys to the world of Holyoke Publications. So with that, I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.